Yes, that's right. We are back with the first video of 2025, coming at you with a happy new year. In this video, I thought I'd outline what I've been doing for the whole of January. You may have noticed there's been no videos made. I want to run through my new health routine, also some plans I have for the channel going forward, trying to make it bigger and better than it's ever been before. There's going to be some exciting announcements and also some exciting projects. So stay tuned if you're interested in any of that nitty gritty. Now, I have been getting out skateboarding in January. The pool style bowl at Mount Hawke skate park has undergone a little bit of maintenance and it's now a little bit more user friendly. So I've been getting in there trying to find new lines. One of my big breakthroughs was getting a rock fakie in the shallow end, which is pretty whippy, and then getting down and doing a fakie carve and a bit of a fakie carve grind in the deep end. And that would have been unthinkable with the pool in the way it was set up previously. I've also been getting down to my favourite pool style bowl at Concrete Wave Skate Park in Newquay. Now this one's been taking a little bit more effort to engineer a session in. Every time I get down there, it's just either fully wet or there's loads of condensation. And even things like sunshine are not my friend when I'm trying to dry it out, because that sometimes just means that there's going to be more condensation forming as soon as it's wiped off. So a lot of those sessions have started with a good half-hour wipe out of the towel. But I've managed to get a few new lines going in there, managed to get a sort of rock fakie on the hip and then into a fakie 50-50 grind. I didn't manage to get a really satisfyingly good one yet, but there are signs that that's going to be a really good line for getting a bit more speed on that fakie grind. So let's get into the health and well-being section. Now, I started off the new year, as I'm sure many of you did, feeling a little bit worse for wear, too many mince pies, too much Yorkshire pudding. And I think when I started out the skateboarding channel, I worked out that being heavy was not going to be my friend for trying to progress at skateboarding. So I got on a really big health routine. I was doing sort of free weights to get rid of some of the belly fat. Also doing loads of cardio, loads of skateboarding. I also addressed my diet. I went a little bit more faddy on the diet then and went for sort of low carbs and all sorts of crazy stuff. But I managed to get down to 83 kilos, which was my target weight. And I was feeling quite skinny and pretty nimble. And then since then, I reckon I've put on a kilo per year, every year. So as I got through the Christmas period this time, I was tipping the scales, nudging on nearly 90 kilos. And I thought, crikey, enough is enough. So I've nipped into this new routine and I've gone for a more science-based, data-driven sort of idea as opposed to any crazy fads. And I think when I've looked at my health and fitness before, it's been really tricky to wade through all the misinformation. So this time I've just gone hardcore cold turkey all in, starting with my sleep program. Now for my adult life, I have never had a set routine for sleep, and I've sort of prided myself on being able to push through and only needing a few hours sleep really to function. And that comes from my lifestyle of being a musician and doing gigs late. Also, I've had children for the past 10 years, so it's been pretty tricky to lock into a routine. I'm also a big fan of staying up and binge watching and staying up to any old hour. So I've never had it set in stone as to what my sleep routine should be. So the first thing I did was set a time to go to bed. So I'm going to bed at 10 o'clock in the evening. And I've also got a monitoring device, which is the Woop wearable device. And that's giving me feedback on my sleep score and how I'm doing throughout the night. Now, there's a few things that I've also tweaked to help get my sleep score up. And when I first started trying to go to sleep, it was misery. I couldn't get to sleep because I always had stimulus to help me to go to sleep. So getting into bed and going to sleep without any sort of screens or anything, I found really tricky to start with. I'm using an eye patch to shut out all the light. I'm also not eating any dinners after about 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the evening. So I've got a good long time to digest before I go to sleep. I'm also having no screens 1 hour before I go to sleep. So I'm reading books and writing in my journal. The other thing I've got going is the anti-blue light glasses. Now, I wear these from about 7:30 onwards and they do look a little bit kooky. Looks like I'm a member of U2 or something. But I think they've had a big impact on the amount of restorative sleep I'm getting. So that's the REM and deep sleep phase. And to start with, my deep sleep was pretty much non-existent. I think I was still addicted to the screens And also that lack of routine was not allowing my body to get into that deep sleep. And I think I'm feeling the benefits now. After a month of practice, I've started to get my sleep score up to 90 and 100%. And the next day I'm feeling so clear-headed. I think it's going to be better for making good decisions. And I reckon it's going to be better for reacting fast on the skateboard. So the sleep routine in a nutshell is no food after 5, put my orange glasses on from about 7:30, no screens after 9:30, in bed and asleep for 10:30, and using my Woop band to monitor all those different aspects and see how they react and see how my sleep is affected. The next thing I've had a good look at is my food. Now, I've always tried to be a healthy eater, but I've been a bit of a sucker for the fad diet, and I've tried the low carb diets. I've also tried the plant-based diets, the vegan, also the pescatarian, and I've tried to find things that work for me. Now, I've also been a bit of a late night snacker, and I've found that's been a bit of a comfort zone, sort of get in there, have a mince pie, maybe a bowl of porridge, sort of get into the evening and enjoy it. But since I've moved to Cornwall, I've also got a bit of a taste for the pasties and the pint of cider and also the cream tea. So everything's slipped downhill. And I think the diet is a little bit of a habit style thing. So I've got into a few bad habits. So I thought I'd go cold turkey. So I've gone for no processed foods. I've gone for cooking all my meals from scratch. I've gone for loads of fruit and vegetables, nice balanced diet. So I'm eating sweet potato as well for my carbs. I'm eating jacket potatoes. And basically I've cut out anything that could be deemed as pretty bad. I'm also monitoring my calories and just making sure I'm getting enough calories for the amount of exercise I'm doing, but not overeating. I think the biggest and hardest change I've made is not eating after 4:30 to 5 o'clock in the evening. That's really helped me avoid that sort of roller coaster ride of snacking and the blood sugar levels going up and down. It's also allowed me to get that restorative sleep score up for my sleep. I have been a little bit peckish, I have to say, but once my body's got used to it, that seems to have leveled out, and I've found that my mood is stabilised. The last thing I've tweaked is my exercise program. Now, back in the day, I was pretty good at sticking to a weights routine. I find it pretty painful and pretty boring, but I had my eye on the prize of having increased muscle mass and increased bone density, which helped with recovering from falling off the skateboard. But I think as I've got a little bit better on the skateboard, I've been coming a cropper a little bit less. And I've also been thinking, oh yeah, my skateboarding routine is enough exercise that'll keep me in trim. I've also stopped doing any extra cardio because I've been doing a lot of bowl and transition. I've been finding my heart rate goes up to about 140, 150. I've been burning quite a few calories during those sessions. So I've been thinking that's enough cardio exercise and exercise in general for the week. But I've put back in now a good weights program. I'm feeling a lot stronger, and I'm monitoring that with a little diary, all of my one set maxes on how much I can do in various exercises, also how many reps I can do. I'm now back up to 40 press-ups in one go, and I'm doing 100 press-ups a day. I've also rigged up a little sort of pseudo rock climbing area in my studio where I can do pull-ups. Even if I'm working at the computer, I'll sort of dash off and do a quick few pull-ups on the rock climbing grips. I've also got a support band, so I don't have to do only sort of 4 or 5 unassisted grips. I can assist myself and push past where my point of failure would be. I've got back into my running. Now with running, I find it painful. I'm 6'3", and running's always been my arch nemesis. I did manage to complete the Bournemouth Marathon right back in the day. That was probably about 8 years ago, and that gave me post-traumatic syndrome afterwards, and sort of felt ill every time I ran for about 2 or 3 years after that. So I've managed to get back into my running. I'm back up to about 5k now, and I'm slotting that in around my skateboarding sessions, and I'm doing it as a bit of a warm-up for me weight session. Okay, enough of my yakking on health and wellness. I reckon this is a good subject to talk about and get the discussion going on. It's a tricky one to discuss without sounding a little bit preachy, so I'll put the caveat in that everybody's different, everybody enjoys different things, everybody's built differently, and everybody's motivations and goals are different. Also, I think the pain point on some of these things are going to be different for various people, so some of this may seem a little bit extreme, but I've got one of those sort of mindsets where I can only go all in on something and not sort of dilly-dally around the edges. So leave it in the comments below what you think of any of these areas, and also I'm interested in what you're doing with your New Year routine. So to finish up, I've got big plans for the channel and big plans going forward. I can't reveal too much because with any big plan, there's always a chance that it's not going to quite come off the way you expected. And I don't want to put myself in a position where it hasn't quite come to fruition, but I'm pretty excited. I've been working hard, and that's why the videos haven't really been coming through as quickly as they usually do. So moving forward, there might not be quite as many videos, but I think the videos that do come through are going to be super exciting. And my intention is to make the channel bigger and better and make all the videos far more sort of entertaining and viewable. So if there's any type of videos you'd really like to see me make, then I'm always interested in your opinions, and please do leave those in the comments below. As ever, my name's been John Bishop, and I'll see you next time.